Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another review. Today I'm taking a look at Dune Spice Wars on the Xbox Series S. Now this is a game I've been wanting to play for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's been on Game Pass, I've had it in my game library, I've just not been having the time to play it basically. But after watching the recent release of Dune Part 2, being a big fan of the franchise and also being a big fan of the Dune games back in the 90s, that's how far back I go. I've been putting a lot of time into this weekend in the hope to get up a review for you guys, just to give you a basic idea of what the game's all about. Now, what can you expect from Dune Spice Wars? Well, this essentially is a tactical real-time strategy game, I suppose you could say. And there are some similarities to the old style Dune games back in the 90s, but only some similarities. I mean, it is a real-time strategy game, very much like them games, but it's far more strategic and tactical, this one, than those games back in the day. Now, you've got a few different modes to go at here, really. You've got there's a tutorial mode to go and learn how to play the game and how to use the controls, all that kind of stuff, which is always worth trying. I always generally try the tutorial modes first, just to get a little bit of a feel of the game, and it's a pretty intuitive tutorial, and it is quite helpful if you're not used to playing these types of games. There is obviously a multiplayer mode as well, where you can kind of go and create your own lobbies and go up against your mates or all that kind of stuff. I'm not a big multiplayer fan, and those of you that watch my content will know that, so I can't really comment on how good the multiplayer side of the game is, because I haven't really played the multiplayer side of it, I'm not going to lie. And then you've got the single player mode, which is where I've been spending all my time generally. And in the single player mode, you've got a skirmish mode, which speaks for itself really. You've got the Canley Duel mode, it's called, which essentially is just you and another faction fighting for control of the map. And then you've got like the new game option, which is like the campaign, I suppose. Now, when you go into the campaign, you can choose which house that you want to be. I chose House Atreides for the majority of my playtime. But you can choose House Harkonnen, you can choose House Carino, House Ecas, and there's even another house called House Vernius, I think, but that's like a DLC house. I haven't got any of the DLC for the game yet, so I can't really comment on that house. But from my perspective, each house kind of gives you a little bit of a different perspective going into the game, and when you go in, you get to choose like 2 counselors from your house to kind of advise you along the way and give you a little bit of a diplomatic boost or a military boost, whatever. So you kind of choose your counselors, go into the map, and you start off very, very basic stuff. You've got to kind of build your empire, if you like, and expand throughout Arrakis, the desert planet of Dune. So to do that, you've got to kind of recruit soldiers, rangers, military units. You've got a machine that it's like a flying machine that flies around and explores the map for you and gives you points of interest for you to go and explore and discover. And then you'll send your military units out, and you can take over neighbouring villages. Now, you can either do it peacefully, or you can do it by using force, which is a lot quicker. And it's really up to you how you want to play the game. So once you've taken over this village, then you kind of can occupy it, and you can build like resources from that village. So it kind of adds to your empire sort of thing, and you can build like harvesters that'll go and harvest spice from if you've got like a spice field on that area of the map, it's a good idea to build a harvester. You can build missile launchers. You can build markets. It gives you like three options to build on. So three options to build, if you like. So you've got like economy, military, and like diplomatic type thing. So you've got different versions of buildings to build, and it just depends on what kind you want to build. So you've got to kind of keep expanding out, looking at the resources that are on that particular section of the map. There'll be some things for you to discover as well that you've got to kind of click on, and it'll tell you how many days it'll be to kind of discover that. And it might give you a little bit of a boost, a bit of extra spice or diplomacy or whatever it might be. And you've got to then kind of recruiting soldiers into your army, drones, different military vehicles. And at some point, you'll even get to the point where you can recruit heroes as well into your squads. And then as you get more and more powerful, you kind of keep expanding out, and then you can decide whether you're going to be diplomatic or aggressive. And it's, again, that's really up to you, because every I don't know if it's every month, something like that, in game time, you've got to kind of, you go into like, it's like a council with all the other houses on the map, and you've got to kind of put your votes in for certain things and decide whether you're going to vote for this. And hopefully it might give you things like different boosts for your military, or it might give you different boosts for your spice stocks, or some diplomatic bonuses, all that kind of stuff. And you vote on those, and then it decides whether you kind of win them or not. You can also enter into negotiations with all the other factions, and they will kind of offer you like some resources, and they'll tell you what they want in return. You can either accept or decline all that. You can have truces with the other houses, but you can break that truce if you decide to attack their territories and take over their land, and then you basically become a target for everybody else. So it just depends how you want to play the game. Do you want to be diplomatic or aggressive? So you keep expanding out on all this kind of stuff. You research as well, to research new buildings, new ways to be diplomatic, all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty enjoyable overall, the game, I would say. It's quite tactical. It's a lot of fun to play. The real time strategy elements is there, if it's not as like in depth as you would perhaps hope it to be. It's like a combination between like a building sim or a management sim and some real time strategy elements thrown in for good measure as well. Obviously, with this being Dune, there are the spice worms as well that appear on the map. So you can be like sending your units across the map, and this is something you've got to be careful of as well, because if you send them all at once across the map to attack a certain place, if they happen to attract a worm, you could potentially end up losing all those units. And it can take you quite a bit of time to build up your units, because you can't just buy them outright. You've got to basically make enough money or resources in order to build new units and things like that, and research and everything like that. So it can take a bit of time to get them, and then if you lose them all, it can be like almost like starting again, if you like. So it's about balancing your economy here. You've got to make sure that you're getting enough water. You've got to make sure you're collecting enough resources. You've got to make sure that you're deploying your harvesters to collect the spice. You've got to be smart in the way that you're negotiating with the other houses. And it's not necessarily an easy game to pick up and learn either, because I thought the first time I played on one of the maps, I thought I was doing really quite well. And then all of a sudden I lost. Another house basically won the map, and I wasn't exactly sure how. So it's about not just understanding what you're doing on the map, it's understanding what your enemies are doing on the maps as well. So you've got to kind of be aware of what everybody's doing on the map, and that's my advice if you're going to play this, really, is just focus on not just you but everybody else, and that will kind of help you be successful. But I have to say, I'm thoroughly enjoying this game. As a fan of Dune, as a fan of the franchise, and a fan of the property, I'm happy with this, and I will definitely be putting a lot more time into it. So I'm going to give it a fairly strong 8 out of 10. If you like real-time strategy games, you like management sims, and you're a fan of the franchise Dune, I think you're going to get a lot of fun out of this game. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more content very, very soon.